Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to look at another stock called Senseonics Holdings, and this particular stocks look a bit very confusing because the price has been going up for some time, and then after that it made a retracement and then it went up, but the up here did not reach beyond the previous up. So we are not very sure if this is on an uptrend or not because the high wasn't breaking the previous high, but instead it is making a down move. So how do we interpret this kind of chart? So that's basically what we're going to look at this particular video. So if you're interested in looking into this particular stock, Senseonics Holding, please stay tuned and watch until the end. This is Shah&Co. Please like and share and subscribe the channel before we continue our analysis. Okay, we will analyze this particular stock, Senseonics Holdings, in two ways. We will look at the long-term analysis as well as the short-term analysis. Of course, the focus of our investment is short-term because most of us we want to have a short profit. Some of us may want to have a long-term view, but so therefore I present both long-term view and short-term view as well. So we'll start with the long-term view. So we'll move to the what you call monthly chart. So if you look at this monthly chart, it has been the stock has been going in a sideways manner, a zigzag up and down. And if you try to draw the pattern trend line, so let me take the trend line, so we can see that so the high is getting higher and the low is getting lower. So what is the pattern here? This is an expanding kind of sideways move, expanding kind of sideways move. So that is one thing confirmed, sideways move. So what is contributing to sideways move is basically both buyer and sellers. They are equal in force. So they are kind of equilibrium in the force. Buyers more pushing it up, sellers pushing it down in a somewhat in a equivalent manner. So therefore the price tend to make one time very high move, then another time it makes a very low move. So because of the equilibrium. So in order for this particular equilibrium to be broken, we need kind of extra power, either the buyer or the seller. So if the buyer is having extra power, then we will see uptrend, continuous uptrend. Otherwise, we'll see a continuous downtrend if the seller is having more power. So let us try to see if that particular equilibrium in this particular sideways move has been what you call broken, or rather, or is it is still in the equilibrium stage. So that's what we want to look in this long-term analysis. That is very important for us to know because we need to see where is the direction of this particular stock. So I'll take this Fibonacci retracement. So we need two loops. So we have one loop. So you can see this is one loop. So look at my mouse pointer. So this is one loop, and second loop is from the high to low to the high back. So there are two loops. So now I'll take the Fibonacci tool and look at the first loop. So all the way top to down here to the high. Okay, so you see here, this is the down move. The sellers are selling and then the buyers are pulling it up. Okay, so they're pulling it up all the way to almost nearing to level 140%. Okay, maybe slightly lesser than that, but anyway, we'll just estimate it to be 140%. Okay. So the buyer managed to pull it up to 140%. Now we have done with the first loop, so we will look at the second loop. Okay, so this second loop we will drag from the high here all the way to the low here. So the low is somewhere down here. Okay, and then from the high to the low, seller pull it down quite heavy, and then the buyers also pull it up. And then we can see that it reaches almost price level. Okay, it reaches beyond that level 1 of Fibonacci, so it could be 110%, something like that. So we will put it here as we'll edit it. So from 140%, it moved to 110% roughly, So what can we say out of this observation? So for the first round, the buyer managed to pull it up by 140%, but in the second round, the buyer only managed to pull it up by 110%. So we can see that the buyers weakening. Okay, so uh, the buyers have no power to pull up. Okay, so or rather, I would just say the buyers has no power. Usually, buyers will pull it up, right? So it's a known thing. Okay, so then we will look at the sellers. What is the power of the sellers? Okay, for the sellers also we need two loops. So we have one loop from here going up and down, and then from one loop going up and down. This is still premature. The last one, it went up, and then we don't know is it going to go down or going to go up. That's a bit premature for us to use. So I'll just use the last two, what you call loops. So if I take the Fibonacci tool up, okay, so we can see that for the first round, buyers pull it up, then the seller pull it down to almost beyond 162%. So we'll jot it that down. We'll put it at 162%. Then later on, we will also look at the second loop. In the second loop, we see that the price moved up all the way then to down. We will see. We'll try to adjust it. Okay, so we can see that the price moved down. It hasn't touched that 127, so we can say it's roughly 110. So roughly it's around 100, maybe it's 120, not 10. I think 10 is a bit too too unreal. I would say it's around 120, somewhere around there. We can just put 120. Doesn't matter. Okay, so we'll modify this to 120% roughly, So what can we conclude from this observation? So in the first round, the seller managed to pull it down by 162%, but in the second round, the seller managed to pull it down only by 120%. So that shows that even the seller has no power, because the seller's power has diminished. Okay, the sellers have no power as well, right? So now we can see that both buyer and sellers here, they don't have power. So this is an example of equilibrium. The power is equilibrium. When we say equilibrium, it could be both way. Both of them, buyers and sellers, have got power, or it could be the both buyer and seller having no power. So now in this case, we are seeing that both buyers and sellers not having power. So that is also confirmation that the chart is in a sideways move, and it is going to continue in the sideways move for a while. So when we say it's going to continue in a sideways move, then we can see that the price has touched down and it went up. Once it went up, right, then it's supposed to go down. But before it went down, right, there is a huge buyer. See, and the volume here is quite strong. So there's a huge buyers come in and pull it up. So there is some buying interest there. So I'm trying to think that it might go and touch the high. So you can see in the previous loop, right? So it touched the high here, right? It touched the high here, somewhere around here. So maybe I take so it managed to hit the high here. But even after it hit the high here, then we can see that it's a bit of sell down here. And after the sell down, the price moved up. Do you see that? So probably that is the case we might see here. So it pushed, it hit the up here, and then somewhere in this region there's a pull down, and then there's a push up coming again, right? So we want to estimate this push up is going to go to what level high, which level high it's going to go. But right now, of course, we can see that it's actually having a bit of retracement. So what we can conclude from this part analysis is it is confirmed it is a sideways move. So it is going to continue to move in a sideways. There's another critical observation from our power analysis. Both the buyer and sellers having no power, so it's going to continue to move in sideways. And now we can see that because of the buying interest, so we are projecting that it might go up. We might go up. So what is the target price? So that's what we're going to look at in the next part. So in this first part, I explained to you the long-term analysis. In the next part, I'm going to look at the short-term analysis. Short-term analysis. So in the short-term analysis, we can actually figure out what will be the target price. So if you like my explanation so far, if it has contributed to your knowledge and you gain some interesting facts and findings, so please hit that subscribe button. So we will continue in the next part soon. Okay, now in the second part analysis, we're going to look at the short term. So my chart is now moved to a day chart. So in the day chart, you can see clearly that the price moved up, then it made a retracement, and then the high here did not manage to go beyond the previous high. So that is a concern for us. So because if it went higher than the previous high, then it's easier for us to analyze, and then we can confirm that it's in uptrend. But that did not happen. No? That did not happen. So that makes it a bit confusing for us to analyze now. So anyway, we'll try to analyze it, and I will take a Fibonacci diagram here, and we can see that the price here from the low that so what's the low here? Okay, so actually the low, the low is somewhere here. I think this is the low. So from the low to the high, right? So that's the high. So here is the high, and then you see when it did the retracement, right? It touched the 50% level, and that means it's still positive. I mean, the downturn has yet to start, because if we go beyond 50%, then we can say that the sellers are gaining more control. But the buyers, you can see the buyers suddenly come in and push up the price quite heavy, just like the same move here. The buyers came in and pushed the price, moved high, so we can see there's a move up. Okay, price move up. So in terms of the buyers power, we can see that the buyers still having power here for this temporary this period short period analysis. Okay, now we will do a bit of price projection. So to do price projection, what we will do is we'll take this Fibonacci trend based retracement. So again, we'll take from the low here all the way to high, and then bring it down to the low. Okay, I just extend it to the right. Okay, like this. So this Fibonacci trend based analysis is going to look at time domain. So if you look at the price moving up, it took relatively took more time to go up compared to when it took time to go down. Okay, so comparatively, the sellers managed to sell at a quick pace compared to buyers making the high move. They were slower in making the high move. So in that sense, according to the Fibonacci analysis, we have to use Fibonacci level 0.618. So that's a theory, what the theory says. So if the buyers are slower, but then the sellers are quicker, then we have to use level 0.618. Okay, so we will try to draw this line. This is our target line. So we are targeting this line. I'll try to adjust it to be a bit more overlapping. Okay, so it's a bit better. So roughly we are looking at $4.91, $4.90 somewhere around there. Okay, that's the target we are looking right now. And if the interesting thing I have found in this analysis is let me remove this, and then we go to the weekly chart. So if I move to the weekly chart, and then I try to do a bit of Fibonacci retracement analysis as well, and I take the low here. So what is the low price here? So that's a bit difficult to find out. So I am thinking that this, okay, it could be this, doesn't matter. This could be the low. Okay, so that's a low all the way to high to the low here. Okay, now I see the buyers again, they were very slow in the beginning, then they pushed the price very high. So the buyers took very long time, the sellers took again very short time comparatively. Compared to the buyers, they took shorter time to sell it down. Okay, so then again we will use level 0.618, and we can see that there is an overlap when we compare to the weekly chart. Just now was a day chart, now it's a weekly chart. It actually overlaps. So the two targets, the weekly target and the day target, see that. So this line, this particular line is the previous day line, day chart target. No? So this is the weekly chart target. So they kind of overlap at the same target price, around $4.90. Okay, so that is one good news. So we are kind of thinking that this might be the target for the price to go up. Okay, so now we will move it back to the day chart. Okay, let's move back to the day chart. Okay, so we are here, and you want to again highlight to you another interesting point here. So we have already fixed our what do you call the target price. If you look at the up move here, so this is the up move, right? From the low here, it moved up, right? This is the up move. So along the way here, there are two candlestick body which is kind of very high, they have large candlestick body, both these two. So what I'm going to do is, and then when we look at the retracement, when it retraces and then there's a up move, right? When there's a up move, okay, this is the second up move. Though this second up move did not manage to go beyond the previous up move, we can see that there is another large candlestick body. So when we have large candlestick body, it actually is hint of buying interest, and in fact it can become a support resistance point level point as well. But we can also want to see how the movement of these we call them as head of gangsters. These large candlesticks we see here, the green bar here, the large candlestick, we call them the largest among them. We call it as head of gangster. So I'm going to use Fibonacci, and this is an interesting analysis if you observe, right? So I'm going to draw Fibonacci levels here, but this Fibonacci level I'm going to change it to 3 levels instead of many Fibonacci levels. I'm going to I'm going to have 3 levels only. So let me change it to 3 levels. Each of them will have 33% somewhat. Okay, so now you see my levels, percentage levels is 33% for first layer, second layer, third layer. You can see that all the large body of the candles is in the middle layer. So this is in the middle layer. And then if I were to draw the same to the next one, okay, the next move, you can see that all the largest, the head of gangster is on the first layer. So when we have this kind of move from the second layer, the head of gangster from the second layer moving to the first layer, it basically means there is some strength, there is some buying strength. Okay, this is a head of gangster analysis, pattern analysis. Okay, so what we worry is when the head of gangster appears on the top level. When the head of gangster, a lot of people buying at a very high price, there's a high push on the high price, then that's a worrisome. That's where the sellers can come in and immediately sell, bring the price down. But that apparently did not happen. When the price retraced, suddenly there is a huge buying interest at the lowest level here. If you look, so there are 3 levels, right? Top, middle, and the low, right? So the high price move is at the lowest level, and when the high price move is at the lowest level, that actually brings some strength into the up the up move. So we are actually expecting an up move, and therefore this target that we set just now at this $4.90 is somewhat still there. So that's the target price we are looking at. Okay, so I hope from this part analysis you have gained some information about this particular stock, Senseonics Holdings, and hopefully has given a bit of guidance to you. And I'm going to continue in the next part. In the next part, I'm going to make conclusion what we really need to be aware of. We know the target, but what are the possible things that might go wrong? Okay, so that's what I want to look at in the next part. So before we move on to the next part, hit that subscribe button, show me a bit of support, and also you will learn a lot from my videos. So subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so that you will get videos updated from me. Okay guys, this is the last part of our analysis. We're going to make a conclusion. We have already observed during the first part analysis when we look into the monthly analysis, right? So there is a strong buying interest when there is a reversal, right? So the price went high and then retraced, and then when it reversed, it's actually very strong. It's a high, very highest among the highest volume we have here, and then the price went shoot very high. Yeah? So that means there's a strong buying interest, and right now probably it is actually kind of doing a bit of sell down, profit taking, and all that. But still remember our target is around $4.90. So that's our target around here. Okay, so we are still in the head to the up, but what are the risks we have here? What are the risks? How should we safeguard ourselves? Okay, so we'll go back to our day chart. Okay, we will try to draw a bit of market structures. So you can see here, this is one support resistance line. So this support resistance line is important because currently there is a sell down here. So we don't want this sell down to go beyond this particular support line. Then our analysis may not hold. No? And we can also define another support line. This particular head of gangster I mentioned, these are two. We have two strong candlesticks which moves the price up very strongly. So the base of it will actually make it as a support resistance. So this is the base here. So we will make this also another, and there's some and this it also go through several other support points here. I mean, not very clear here. This at this low level here, the lowest part of the body of the candle, the head of gangsters here, the large body and the large candlestick body here could also behave as a support resistance. So we may be tricked if the price go beyond this first support resistance. You can actually sell down if you have some position. You may want to cut loss and then sell down like 50%, and if it crosses beyond this particular second line of defense here, then you just sell everything because price may go toward down. Okay, so those are all, these two lines are kind of protection. We can see in the pre-market the price is slightly moving up, but we are not sure what will happen when the market opens. So be a bit careful. Our price up move is still there, and overall the big idea is still in a sideways pattern. It is still heading toward up, and the good news is we have in the monthly chart the strong buying interest here on the very high volume at this price. So I mean, this is the two resistance lines we draw just now, right? This is one resistance line and these two resistance line. So if this current downfall fall beyond these two resistance line, then it may end up at this particular low here. So you may suffer a huge loss. So some of you may be very conservative and you might want to cut loss everything as it reaches the first support level. That's up to your choice. Some of you may be a bit more risk taking. You might want to take 50% off, cut loss, and then when it reaches second, then you take another 50%. Then that confirms, is it? Because right now the fluctuation is quite severe here. I mean, it's moving upside down. So we are a bit worried about the volatility we have here. So anyway, the price target, my conclusion is the price target is at $4.90, but there are some caveats as in what you should do when it crosses the support levels here. Okay, I hope this will be making a good guide for you. And if you like my video, please like, share, and also hit the subscribe button. I'll see you in the next video.